Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a long-term review of one of my all-time favorite LED panels, the Aputure F7. Today's video is proudly sponsored by Gold Coast Camera Hire. So over the years, I've bought a lot of different LED panels, and my journey in LED land started off with the generically branded CN160s, which were all of $30. Don't buy them, they're terrible, save you 30 bucks. They almost all broke, and those that didn't break had really bad CRI. They're just not a good light. Then I picked up some of these. I have a full set of these. These are the Aputure AL-H198s. These were definitely a step up from the $30 generic panels, but they're not a perfect light. And then Aputure released the successor to this light, which is this one, the F7, which is what we're going to be talking about today. One of the things I love about Aputure is they listen to their customer base, and they took basically all of the issues that I had with this light and they fixed it in the next model. So this was really exciting for me when this was released. So the first thing that I want to look at with this light is the build quality. Now, the build quality on this is surprisingly good for an inexpensive and lightweight panel. Compare it to the AL-H198, you can kind of hear and feel that the plastic, like the joins between the plastic isn't very good, and you can kind of squidge them, and it doesn't give you a lot of confidence that this is going to survive if it falls off, you know, a light stand or some kind of rigging and tumbles to the ground. The build quality on this, which is like a hard shell ABS, it's really, really high quality. It doesn't feel like there's anything that has any kind of give, which I really appreciate. The other good thing about this is that there's nothing on here that I feel would break on an impact. Whereas here you've got a lot of little plastic bits and pieces that kind of protrude out. And this is actually one of the things that I don't like about this particular panel, is that the diffusion panels here are hard plastic, and these crack and break really easily. And they're held in place by small plastic pegs, which I've also had snap off on several of my lights. So Aputure have definitely improved the situation by going with this design, which simply slots in there. These can't crack because they're flexible. And that also means that you can have multiple grades. So you have choice as to how much you want to diffuse your light. So I really appreciate that inclusion. You'll also note that the F7 is a lot smaller than the previous light. And I'm going to put that down to the fact that they have removed the AA battery compartment from the previous model. Because let's face it, I think I ran one of these lights of AA's once. So instead, this one only has your Sony NPF style mount, which is actually a really nice mount. So that's really easy. This locking mechanism comes off and on really easily. It's really easy to use. And this is one of the better ones that I've come across in general, not just on a small LED panel. So while we're on the topic of power options, this light has two new power options in addition to the Sony NPF style battery. So you can run this off a D-tap, and you also have a USB-C powering option here. Now, there's a quirk to this USB-C power port, which I've discovered. I think when they implemented this, it was in the early days of USB-C and USB-C power delivery. But when I've plugged this light into a USB-C power bank and a USB-C charger, it will not power the light. Now, when I subbed that out for a USB-C to USB-A cable, and I was running it off a regular 5 volt 1 amp or 5 volt 2 amp USB-A connector, it powers a light just fine. So that's something to bear in mind, is that it won't actually accept USB-C power. It has to be a USB-A power source with a USB-C cable, which is a little bit confusing, a little bit weird. If anyone else has had a different experience with this, please let me know down in the comments. I'd love to work out why that is the case, but in my experience, that's what it is. So just run it off a regular USB-A type battery and you'll be just fine. A couple of other features of this light. It has 1/4-20 screws on the side, the bottom, and the top, which is really great because you have a bunch of different mounting options depending on how you want to position the light. One downside to that is just purely user error. I keep mounting the light upside down, and then I have to go and flip it around, or I can't read the the writing on the back, which is the next thing that I want to talk about. Now, this has a really nice little LED display here on the back. Gives you your color temperature settings as well as your battery percentage. Now, this light here can go all the way down to 0% in 1% increments, which is really appreciated. A lot of lights will tap out at 10% or 20%. This one goes all the way down to 1%, and it's very, very precise. The other thing I love about this light, unlike these, is that this one is bicolor, and in fact it goes further than bicolor. Now at the moment it's set to 5600 degrees Kelvin, which is our daylight color temperature. But if you press the knob here, it switches over to color temperature mode. So I can adjust my Kelvin settings down to 3200 degrees Kelvin, which is tungsten, or all the way up to 9500 degrees Kelvin for a really cool blue kind of a look. Now the fact that they've gone past 5600 Kelvin, past daylight, all the way to 9500 Kelvin is a really intelligent move by Aputure, because not only does it allow you to get that nice cool blue look if you're shooting under daylight conditions, but it also positions 5600 Kelvin squarely in the middle, because as you can see here, there are alternating rows of LEDs. So you have your 9500 Kelvin LEDs on one row. And if I just dial this back down, you can see that now both LED rows are coming on. Go all the way to 3200 Kelvin, you can see your tungsten LEDs here. So by putting 5600 Kelvin in the middle, that means that all the LEDs are on, and that is going to give you the maximum output at that setting, which is a really smart move. These LEDs are also a really high quality LED. They come in at 95 plus CRI and TLCI, which is really good. So you're not going to get any noticeable green or magenta shifts on this light, unlike some other panels that I've used. And it's also quite a bright little light as well. When I measured the output of this light, it actually came in slightly brighter than advertised. Aputure has listed the brightest output on this light at 1500 lux at 1 meter. And I actually got a higher reading than that. Now, that may come down to my light meter, but I have a good quality Sekonic light meter, and that measured 1900 lux at 1 meter at 5600 degrees Kelvin. In 3200 degrees Kelvin, I measured 840 lux, and at 9500 degrees Kelvin, I measured 1400 lux. So it's a fairly good output for a bicolor light of this size. This is another step up from the AL-H198, which came in at 1600 lux, and of course this isn't bicolor, so that is its max output. This light comes in at $98 US, which is about $140, $150 Australian. But I have noticed in the last few months, and this may have something to do with the pandemic and supply and demand of Aputure products, but the price of these lights has increased and is up around the $200 mark Australian at the moment. But I don't think this has much to do with the retail pricing from Aputure, as much as it has to do with people jacking up the prices and just overall being a bitch. So one of the things that I really respect about Aputure as a company is that they continue to improve and innovate their products. There is actually not a lot to complain about this light. All of the issues that I had with the previous model have been fixed. Even at $200, this is a really well-made light. It has a lot of features. And how much do I like this light? Well, I have like 5 of these and 1 of these, and in a heartbeat, I would trade all of these for like another 1 or 2 F7s. And I really look forward to seeing the next iteration of this light, which I'm assuming will follow a similar path to the Aputure MC and the new Nova, which will be probably a RGB HSI engine powered light. That would be my assumption, and that's what I would love to see out of a panel this size. I look forward to seeing the next version of this light and seeing how they improve and innovate on an already awesome product. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, as always, make sure to hit that like button and let us know in the comments below, what kind of gear would you like to see us review next? Would you like to see more of these long-term reviews of gear that I've been using for years? Or would you like us to be reviewing the new and exciting gear that's just been announced? So let us know. We'd love to hear what you have to say, and we will see you in the next video.